of more than 3 months, there's been more than 500,000 encounters. I know she went to other countries before she'd even go down to the border. The number of migrant children crossing the border is again on the rise. This news comes from the same week when there were reporters of despair and isolation at the migrant facilities. I hope she takes the time to talk to the border agents, to listen to them. When I was down there, and she's going to El Paso, that is the location that I first heard when I talked to the border agents that we had caught people on the terrorist watch list. Not from Central America, but from Yemen. When I came back to the press conference and reported it, we'll all remember Congressman Gallegos said I was a liar. I still haven't got an apology, but I would have thought at least they would have been very concerned about those on the terrorist watch list coming across that border, because that wasn't the last time that happened. But I haven't seen any action taken from there. Also, I hope she spends time talking to the border agents as well, because they will tell the story there is more fentanyl coming across our border today than any time they've been able to witness it. An increase of 300% from May 2020 to May 2021. That doesn't just stay on your border cities. That goes across America. That kills Americans. Comes from China, through Mexico, into America, into the bloodstream, to those, many who end up stop their hearts beating. We need an administration that's going to work to solve these problems. The sad part about all this, there was no bill passed that became law that created this crisis. It was executive orders from the White House. The president put the vice president in charge. She should come back and tell him to reverse those. And most importantly, she should understand how important Title 42 is. Title 42 allows individuals, when they are caught coming across the border illegally, to send them back to their country. If they lift that, this time of basis of a crisis that we already have, it'll all also come insurmountable for the rest. I hope when she spends the time talking to those border agents, she will learn, because of the unaccompanied migrants that come in, the border agents are off the border in caring for them. In some parts of the border, it's more than 40% of the agents are not able to protect because they're inside doing other work. Another crisis that has continued to grow that I've watched even just down there an hour ago. The border was referred to as the new Ellis Island. Congresswoman Escobar referred to the border as Ellis Island while the vice president and the secretary were there. Is that what the Democrats believe? A crisis they created? Of cartels controlling a border? Of drugs of 300%? Of young children at the age of 3, 2, and 1 with no company of any parent or anybody else around? Ranchers finding them? That's the Ellis Island of today? I think not. After months of ignoring the ongoing crime in American cities, the president finally addressed the violence this week. I thought he would have used that moment to announce tangible actions to restore order, return safety to our communities. You watched just the election of the New York mayor. Maybe we'll find out about who won in a month from now. But what's leading today, I think, should wake up all Democrats. Their idea of defunding the police and now eliminating police is not the message that America wants to hear. They want to hear security and safety. But what are they watching on their televisions after this actions by the Democrats of defunding the police? 2 young children in their own neighborhood in New York, tackled by a man who's running, who's being shot at. Person continues to shoot. Think of what those young children, the PTSD, or what they think within their own neighborhood. But it's not just in that city alone. You turn to the other Democrat-controlled city of Chicago, a young couple going out celebrating a parade, pulled from their car, shot and murdered on the streets while people watched. This is what defunding of the police does. Let me be very clear from a Republican point of view. We put it in the commitment to America. We will not defund the police. We will add more. We said $1.2 billion for more body cameras, more training, community policing, so those streets will be saved. Those children won't have to experience being tackled by someone being shot at. People wouldn't be pulled from their cars and shot in broad daylight. And last but not least, holding China accountable. As many of you know, we unveiled our 8 pillars. I've watched the Democratic Party here fight to defund the police, open up our borders, but also fight never to hold China accountable. As many of you know, we worked in the last Congress to get a bipartisan China task force. Democrats said yes after 8 months, then declined on the day that we were going to announce it. We went forward with it on our own. More than 2/3 of all the bills recommended were bipartisan. And now that we've watched more than 600,000 Americans die from COVID, we think China should be held accountable. First and foremost, there needs to be transparency. We need to declassify the intelligence so all the world can understand what we know and where it came from. Second, you need to have justice. You got to stop funding gain of function with China. We need to prohibit the NIH from doing any grant when it comes to Iran, China, Russia, or North Korea. We need to overhaul the World Health Organization, including demanding new leadership. Unfortunately, this new administration, when they came in, provided more than $200 million to the World Health Organization, not asking for any changes, just taking hard-earned taxpayer money from America and sending it to an organization that lied to all of us. We need to restrict visa and impose sanctions on China. We need to stop China's special rate at the WTO. We need to work with the international community to push to relocate the 24th Winter Olympics Games. More than 3 million people around the world were killed because of COVID. When China found out about it, what did they do? They stopped domestic flights but kept international flights. I don't think those international flights should be going to China for the Winter Olympics. I don't think the world should reward them. We also need to provide the American people an avenue to directly hold China accountable for their loss. Allow them to be sued in court. Something we have done before. After 9/11, we should hold that same accountability here. We cannot allow China's intentional wrongdoing to go unchecked. Americans deserve a government that looks at the best interest of all Americans. With that, let's open it up for questions. Let's go without saying my name.